Malibuca has risen to the top of Fortnite in Chapter 3 with his characteristically aggressive playstyle, but do you know his story? Malibuca started to play the game in Season 3 casually, but didn't start playing the game competitively till the World Cup where he won $200 in Week 9. After this, Malibuca continued to slowly improve, making a little money in the Winter Royale and in a DreamHack online tournament. Malibuca's first large chunk of earnings would come in the solo FNCS heats though, where he would come 98th, making $1,000. At this point, Malibuca had made a couple set lobbies, but had done absolutely horrible in both of them. Going into Season 4, Malibuca was looking to take its good solo placements and run with it, but unfortunately, this season would not be it, with Malibuca failing to make it out of the opens in a single week of this trio's FNCS. As Season 4 continued on, Malibuca started to play with Mayhem and eventually Shizonami. This team did well, making money in a trio cash cup, and they were ready to dominate the Season 5 FNCS. Although in the weekly qualifiers, it was not looking good for them, with them not making it to the finals in the first 2 weeks, and in the third week, they failed to even make round 3. This measly performance was just enough to squeeze their way into heats, and when this team got to heats, they dominated, winning their heat, but unfortunately when it came to grands, this team did poorly, coming 19th, mostly because they were contested by Andretta, Rescard, and Scram Spawn. This was a huge season for this trio though, with this being all of their first grand finals, and Malibuca and Shizonami and Mayhem were looking to have another great season in Season 6, but unfortunately this trio couldn't make it out of heats, and Malibuca decided to look for new options. Malibuca decided to stick with his old trio mate of Shizonami and picked up Mustache. This team did okay in the qualifiers of Season 7, coming 77th, 7th, and 79th. In the semifinals, this team came a respectable 5th place, qualifying themselves straight to the grand finals. Unfortunately, in the grand finals, this team once again struggled, being contested by Refsguard, and Dreda, and Savage again, and only coming a measly 28th, but one thing stood out in this tournament, and that was it did not matter how badly Malibuca was losing a drop spot, he would never give it up, and he continued this in Season 8, making it to the grand finals, but Malibuca still had to fight for steamy stacks, but this time the result would be very different, with Malibuca, Shizonami, and Mustache coming 7th, winning $25,000. The Grand Royale was next, and coming off this dominant steamy stacks win, you would think Malibuca would get it uncontested in the Grand Royale, but Savage, Benji, and Andretta decided they were not about to leave, and this fight went much worse for Malibuca, who ended the tournament at 27th. Throughout the past 3 seasons, Malibuca has really made a name for himself, but he has had one large problem. He can't get a drop spot uncontested, and it is severely hurting his grand finals performances. Fortunately for Malibuca, with a new chapter and a new map, there was a whole plethora of new POIs to try and get uncontested, and Malibuca decided to land at Camp Cuddle. In Season 1, Malibuca dominated going into the FNCS, winning 2 solo cash cups and placing in the money in almost all of them, as well as placing very consistently in almost all of the duo cash cups with his new duo, Mustache. In the FNCS qualifiers, this team did solid, making finals in both of the weeks, and in the FNCS heats, this team barely qualified, coming 11th. Unfortunately, contention would come to haunt Malibuca again, as he and Mustache were contested at Camp Cuddle by Gavix and Schmecky. Malibuca and Mustache, even while contested, were able to come out with a strong 15th, but they both knew something had to change. Going into Season 2, Malibuca decided that if he was going to get contested, it was going to be at the best spot on the map, and with this mindset, he decided to go Rave Cave in Season 2. In the FNCS qualifiers, his team dominated the first week, winning 3 games and auto-qualifying himself into the grand finals. Once in the grands, this team did very well, coming 4th place, winning $60,000 each. Unfortunately, being contested hurt this team heavily in grands though, with them dying on spawn in their final game, getting them 0 points. If Mustache and Malibuca had not died in this final game, they could have easily came 2nd in this FNCS. Finally, in Season 3, Malibuca decided to switch up his drop spot again, going the mid-map lake split. Throughout this season, Malibuca continued to dominate cash cups and qualify to the grand finals in the first week of the FNCS qualifiers. Going into the grand finals, Mustache and Malibuca finally had an uncontested drop spot and showed us what they could really do. After this performance, Malibuca and Mustache came 2nd place, winning $100,000, but Malibuca still hadn't won a major title. Malibuca looked to change this though with the upcoming Gamers 8 Saudi Arabia LAN event. Malibuca was quickly invited to this LAN, but as it got closer and closer to the LAN, Mustache still had not received an invitation, and Malibuca had to quickly find a teammate and teamed with an unexpected player, Epic Whale. This team bridged continents but was ready to compete, and compete they did, winning the whole event, and Malibuca won the MVP himself, winning $225,000. Malibuca finally got a major title under his belt, and even better is that it happened on LAN. Malibuca has shown over the past year that with hard work and dedication, it does not matter where you have come from, you can still make a name for yourself in Fortnite.